Hey, what's going on, everybody? Andrew here, back for our build review show. It is Wednesday, October 2nd of 2024, and this is the show where I bring users' builds up live on stream, giving them personalized feedback and advice about things I think that they can do differently in their builds to ultimately build stronger lineups and higher graded sim ROI lineups. So we do this show Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. To get signed up, all you got to do is drop your DK username in the office hours channel in our Discord server, and I will add you to the queue for the next show. But today, we didn't have any signups, so what I thought we could do is kind of continue a conversation from office hours around just studying the best lineups in a contest and what you can take away from those to help your process. So most of the time, we are studying your own lineups. We're going to be talking about studying somebody else's lineups in a contest and possibly even a contest you didn't play, right? So let's get Saber Sim up. I'm going to go back to Sunday's main slate. All right, let's go to the contest tab. So let's say I wanted to study the lineups for the 555 contest, right? I'm going to pick a little bit smaller contest so it loads quicker. But let's say I want to go and study, high stakes MME type lineups, right? So I come in here. I'm going to open this up. So you always want to study the maxers. And the reason for that is, in general, those people are going to have larger bankrolls. So that means that, or it implies that they're long-term winning players who have built up the ability to max out these high-stakes contests over time, right? So go to users. The max was 150, so we enter 150. Sort by sim ROI. And we come in here and we see who the top maxers are, right? So top maxers look like Chipotle Addict, followed by Papa Gates, and then others, right? So we're going to study Chipotle Addict's lineups here and give this a run. So if I were coming in here, first thing I would do is just look at metrics across the board like we usually look at. So high average salary, 49.9, right? High sim ROI, all unique lineups, basically. And then you notice that he has the highest sim average score of all the players that maxed out this contest, right? According to our projections, at least. So from there, after clicking the plus icon, open up the projections tab, and then go and just start analyzing his metrics, right? So starting with stacks, right? What stacks did he play? What stacks didn't he play, right? I think this is a good opportunity, right, to kind of basically test like some DFS what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like consensus concepts. Right? Like, let's say you're somebody who's like, you know what? I never want to play a naked QB stack, right? I always want to at least have somebody paired with my quarterback. I mean, this is somebody, 555 times 150, right? Like, this is a very expensive contest. 83K in entry fees, right? This is just the entry fees. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if somebody's maxing out a contest and putting 83K into it, I'm probably going to think they know what they're doing, right? So like here's a person, wagering hundreds of thousands of dollars a day on NFL, and they're playing naked QB stacks. We see QB plus 0 with 2 run backs, QB plus 0 with 1 run back. We see QB plus 4 stacks, right? We see a QB plus 4, right? We see a QB plus 3 with a 2 on the other side, QB plus 2 with 3, right? These are massive game stacks that we're seeing, right? But we're not seeing a ton of them. We're seeing a few of them. Now this goes back to a different concept that we talked about. It's like, hey, if a lineup is coming up in the Sims, 1% of the time, should you exit out? It's like, well, the outcome you're trying to achieve is actually greater than that payout, right? Like if this lineup is good 100-1, take 555 and multiply it by 100. That's only 55K, in the first place prize here is $1 million, right? So you're trying to get paid on an outcome that is like greater than 1 to 1,000. Why shouldn't you be comfortable playing a lineup that's good, like 1 out of 100 times or something like that, right? So he's allowing all these different stack types, right? This can help you to decide what rules to put, what rules not to put. Maybe you've been doing a stacking rule every time. Maybe you've been excluding QB plus 3s or greater. This makes you rethink that. But again, not his most common stack, but still allowing them to come up in the build if they happen to come up, right? So most common stacks, and they're all pretty spread out. I mean, highest is 21%, but QB plus 2, QB plus 2 with the bring back, QB plus 1, QB plus 1 with the bring back, QB plus 3, right? And then we go down from there. So this tells me like, hey, being open with your stack types is a fine strategy, and you don't need to heavily limit them. All right. So one thing that stands out to me in the games tab is that most of their game stacks are from higher total games, right? So if we just sort by projected points, the 3 highest game totals are 49.3 for Washington, Arizona, Cincinnati, Carolina, 49.7, and then 46.2 for Jacksonville and Houston. These are where most of their game stacks are concentrated. So I actually think this is like kind of interesting, where 40% of their game stacks are from the higher total games on the slate, and that makes sense. But I think it could be useful information, right? Maybe. And then what you could do, right, is like, okay, from these 21 game stacks, you zone in on those, and then you go and look at what stack types they were, right? You can filter these all different ways. So right now I have a game stack filter for Washington, Arizona, and I went back to the stack types or stack exposures, and I want to see what stacks were used in those game stacks, right? And these look, you see like a lot of QB plus 2 with a bring back QB plus 1. Like these aren't those ultra heavy stacks, ultra correlated, like onslaught, like super crazy. Try Cincinnati, Carolina. Pretty flat. 1, 2, like, 5 players, 6 players from the same game. Minnesota, Green Bay. Philly, Tampa Bay. I'm trying to see something here, which I'm not seeing, but that's okay. KC, LAC. I'm just going through all of these. I was wondering if like the game stacks with the lower totals were the ultra correlated stacks, because you kind of need that game like to go nuts in order to, like, if that game goes nuts, you might have like a really good lineup, but I didn't really see that. So it's just something I was thinking about. So there's nothing there, but that's okay, right? Keep rolling. I wonder if I can add in projected points. Sure can. Cool. So now I come in here, right? I can look at projected points, right? Like, okay, highest total teams, how did they handle it, right? Seems like they're under on San Francisco. It seems like they were a little under on Arizona. I think Kyler Murray was projected for like 20% ownership, and they have like 9% of stacks here, right? Big stand on Washington, kind of middle of the pack there. Went down and got some Jacksonville, got some Pittsburgh. It's more about just kind of how they're handling it, and maybe like a spot they took a stand on. So it's like, okay, why, what did they see that led them to so much Washington? Maybe you go look at your exposures and you completely faded Washington. You didn't have any. Well, when the top sim ROI or in the high stakes MME, when their top team stack is Washington, sometimes you can go and look at this and be like, okay, what did I miss? Why were they seeing this? Maybe you do a couple players. Maybe you look at the top two and they both get to Washington. It's like, okay, hold on. What am I not seeing? And then you go back and you look and you try and look at like some slate factors and like, you're like, oh, okay. Like I kind of get it now. Like I've done this in the past, studying top NBA players. And it's like, okay, both of these players I'm looking at were both on this one play and I wasn't. What did I miss? And like you go back and you study it and it's good to do this like sooner rather than later after a slate ends because you remember all of those things. And you're like, oh, okay. I kind of see how they got to this play now, and you take that and you use it on future slates, right? I'm talking in hypotheticals because like I don't know how he got to Washington, but the fact that he got to Washington a little bit more middle of the pack here, I think could be important, right? You can spend some time diving into this and be like, okay, what's going on here, right? So that's something you can do. And then just looking at their exposures, I like to sort by ownership so I can like go across like highest owned, see where they got leverage, see where they didn't. So they got over the field on Jordan Mason, and Jordan Mason had like pretty good outcome. A lot of these top owned plays, they're either like matching or not taking a big stand on one way or the other, right? So seems like the top owned plays, they're like pretty neutral. And like the first big leverage we see like less than half the field on like Marvin Harrison here. And he came in like right at projection. But Jordan Mason, 2Xing is like big. Half the field on Kyler Murray, he underperformed. This Elijah Higgins play is going to be correlated to the stand basically against Arizona. Over the field on Kyron Williams. Over the field on Bijan. And like you can compare this to, things that you did, right? And decisions that you made. So that's like a really good thing to do, a really good way to study your lineups. So and remember, you don't have to play this contest. You can go study any contest in the lobby and try and figure out, hey, what is the best way to play this contest? And what decisions did the top players make? So this is like more the research I would be trying to do. We were talking about like, looking at past slates and talking about like filters and rules that you could set to do good. Like if I'm studying past slates and I'm not looking at my own lineups, this is the research that I'm actually trying to do here. So I hope that helps. I hope that, you guys get something out of this here. That's always good. All right. Bronson said I got crushed on MLB yesterday. Yeah, that happens. Interrogator, if you want me to study those lineups, hit me up in the Discord and I'll add you to the queue for tomorrow. It's a little bit challenging for me to add people kind of on the fly here. Unfortunately, there's like a little bit of a process we got to go through here before the show starts. So I could definitely check out your MLB stuff tomorrow. Just drop me a note in the office hours channel in Discord and I'll do that. But hope you guys got something useful out of this. If you guys like this content and, want me to study your own lineups, like I just told Interrogator, drop your DK username in the office hours channel in Discord. I'll add you to the queue for tomorrow's show. But until tomorrow, everybody, take care. Good luck. I'll see you all. Thanks. Bye.